Hey guys, this is Coach Brian from Next Level Performance. I'm here to talk to you guys about 3 things that you can do to improve your game. 3 key things you can do. There's obviously hundreds of things you can do to improve your game, but these things are simple details that you can make adjustments with overnight. So let's start with number one. Um, I have my notes on my computer here, so bear with me. So number one, decide what type of player you are. A lot of players don't really know. They don't know their game. They don't know, what they do well. They don't know who they want to be. Some players are wrapped up in being a player that they don't particularly want to be, and then the game's not as fun for them, and so they don't work as hard at it. They don't know how to take pride in something that they like to do. So at the end of the day, I feel like there's different categories. You could be a scorer, you could be a shooter, you could be a spot up shooter, you could be a defender, you could be a playmaker, setting your teammates up, making great plays. You could be a defender, just a lockdown defender, nobody scores on you. You could be a rebounder. There's all type of different scenarios and situations, and obviously everybody's a combination of different things. But there's no way to play the game just one way. But there's a way to define yourself as a particular type of player. And if you do define yourself like that, what ends up happening is you take pride in that. So let's say Steph Curry, for example, he's not going to win every single game, but it's going to be rare that they leave the court and a player say he is a better shooter than Steph Curry. Now, he may outshoot him that night, but Steph Curry takes an awful lot of pride in being the best shooter out there. And if you do outshoot him that night, I'm sure he's doing a whole lot to make sure the next time he sees you that you're going to feel the fact that he is the better shooter, because he takes a lot of pride in that. Now, you post Steph Curry up, he probably won't feel one way or another. He knows he's not a post player. He's not a very strong player, not even a particularly good defender, but he doesn't take a whole lot of pride in that like he does with his shooting. So, and once you determine what type of player you're going to be, take pride. Make sure, you never let anybody outdo you in what you do. That's not to say that somebody won't outdo you, but if somebody does, then you take that to your next workout and use that as motivation to say they're not going to beat me again. Number two, this is number two. Be perfect at the things that are within your control. So perfect is obviously not something that is easy to attain. However, there's some facets of the game and some scenarios that you could be perfect in. So let's go over some of them. So showing up on time to your games, your workouts, practices, whether it be camps, clinics, private lessons, whatever you're doing, just show up on time. So you have a choice to show up on time for whatever you're doing to get better. If it's really important to you, you will be there on time. If it's not that important, then you probably won't, and it'll show in your game because you won't play as well. Second thing, as far as things that you can control, is you could just know the plays. I have a lot of kids that play on my different teams that when they get their opportunity, they don't know the plays. They don't know where they're supposed to be at. They don't know the rotations, the reads from that position. They don't know. Essentially, they don't know the plays. They don't know what we're running, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish as a team. So they get out there and they're just playing, and it's difficult to just play. It's difficult to just play without knowing exactly where you're supposed to be, what the coach expects of you, so on and so forth. Another thing is just working hard. That's completely under your control. You just work hard. Every drill, every game, everything you do, just be the hardest working player out there. Just be the hardest working player in your program. Overall, just be the hardest working player in your program, and that's completely attainable. You could choose to be that person, but you don't. And I've seen a lot of players do it in spurts, a few minutes here, a few minutes there, a day, a week, something like that. But just hang your hat on that. Consistently force everybody else to level up to work as hard as you're working. So that makes your whole program better. And then lastly, as far as controllable that you can be perfect at, is your attitude. So I know for a fact, I do not like coaching kids with bad attitudes. Most coaches I know don't like coaching kids with bad attitudes. Now, I like coaching tough kids that, they're tough. And that means, they won't get punked for the ball. They rebound well. They, play tough defense. They take a lot of pride. That's tough. But attitude, you tell them to do something, you're trying to help them. And, they do their teeth. They, roll their eyes, whatever, all the little different things that are signs of not, taking the criticism positively. It's easier to not help you. It's take my word. It's easier to not help you than to take the extra energy and correct what you're doing wrong. So when coaches go out of their way to correct you, they're not just necessarily yelling at you or just bugging you. They want to get you better. So have a good attitude about it. It's supposed to be fun. Basketball is a fun sport. It should be fun. It should be entertaining. If you're not having any fun with it, then you're probably not doing it for the right reasons. You should probably get away from it. But it should be fun. Next up, number 3, work on your weaknesses. A lot of players only work on the things that they're good at. So you need to be good at something. You need to be able to hang your hat, like we talked about. You need to hang your hat on something. Like, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at that. But let's say, for example, if you're a poor ball handler, then scouting report is make this guy handle the ball. And so when we make you handle the ball and you can't handle it, and you turn it over, now you feel bad, you lose confidence, you end up not being able to do what you actually do well. So you have to, in your off time, camps, clinics, private lessons, whatever you're doing, you got to spend some time working on whatever your weaknesses are. The other part of working on your weaknesses, this should be by yourself. This should be an honest assessment that you believe that you need to work on these certain things. So you need to assess yourself, maybe with the help of a coach or a parent or whoever, but you should be able to assess yourself and say, man, I really need to work on my left hand, or I really need to work on finishing, or, maybe I need to extend my range, or, it could be conditioning. It could be your athleticism. It could be, several different things, but whatever it is, you should have, a structured plan to address whatever your weaknesses are, so that, it's harder for coaches to take you out of the game. So left-handed players need to be able to put the ball on the floor and go right. Right-handed players need to go left. Shooters need to be able to put it on the floor a little bit. Guys that like to attack need to be able to at least knock down a butt-naked, wide-open shot to make the defender come out and guard you. If you're not that athletic, you need to know your angles a little bit better and still work on getting a little more athletic and, your conditioning, your speed, all that stuff. But it goes a long way. So work on your weaknesses by yourself, along with your coaches and help with your parents or whatever. But definitely work on your weaknesses by yourself at some point. So that's our 3 tips. Here's a bonus tip. So you call yourself a basketball player, you want to hoop. This is not for everybody. These tips are for players that feel like they want to have a distinct advantage so they keep moving on to the next level. So if you do want to be a really good player, you got to study the game. There's so many players that have no idea how the game works. They don't know, different systems. They don't know, they don't know how the game works. And when you get into these situations, it's frustrating because this is the first time you've known of these situations. Like let's say, for example, you get 2 quick fouls early in the first half. So you play good defense, and then all of a sudden you try to slap down and get a steal or something like that. Foul. You frustrated, referee. Maybe it was a foul, maybe it wasn't. Then, you think you got your hands straight up. The guy attacks you, hands straight up, hits you in the chest, bam, hands come down just a little bit. Referee calls a foul. You got 2 fouls now. Good coaches, good players, they all know what's about to happen next. You got 2 fouls in the first half. You are coming out, period. Whether that was a foul or not. They call 2 fouls, you're coming out. So good players, they know the game. They see it happen time and time again. They've been watching college games, high school games, whatever. They know you come out 2 fouls in the first half. Well, if you're not as experienced or you haven't been watching the game and studying the game as much, you may be sitting there thinking, all right, when am I getting back in there, coach? You're not getting back in there. You're going to get back in second half when you're supposed to get back in. But that can be frustrating because you don't understand that you're not going back in. So that's just a simple example of understanding the game. The other thing is, that's from a fan's perspective. You should understand that from a fan's perspective. But from playing, you should know different sets. Like a team calls horns, you should already know, man, there's gonna be two screens at the top. We know what this formation looks like. The best players are in tune with the game. They study it. They enjoy studying it. They try to get an advantage. It's not another chore for them to do. It's actually fun to watch, to try to find out any little advantage or detail they can get over their opponent. And they're in there. Those details are in there. So I would recommend watching as much high school. I particularly like college basketball, not just because it's fun, but you got young guys on a big stage with a lot of pressure, making a whole lot of mistakes. So announcers are giving you clues in terms of how to play basketball better. They tell you exactly what's going wrong. They tell you what's going right. And you can rewind it. You can see the situations over and over again. So I highly recommend college. Professionals, the game's a little bit different. And the players know a little bit more, so they do everything right for the most part. I shouldn't say they do everything right, but they do more things right than the college guys. So it's a little harder to pick up those mistakes that you may make if you don't see those college games. So I recommend just study the game, study players that play similar to you or similar to your attacking style, whether it be lockdown defenders, understanding how to not get fouls and how to frustrate your opponent, or it might just be rebounders, how to carve out space, like whatever. But there's something to be attained by watching and studying the game. So I'm gonna leave it right there. This is Coach Brian with Next Level Performance. I'm just trying to give you guys some quick little tips of how to keep improving your game and hopefully get you to the next level. Thanks for watching.